Oh my God, Bitcoin is going to zero. It's over. It's over. Game over for Bitcoin. I'm selling everything. The time is now. Guys, calm down. Don't panic. It's normal. This is Bitcoin. It has 20% drops in a parabola. It's okay. Bitcoin has been going up for 7 months in a row. And the 8th month we fall. I mean, it's normal. It's expected. But it doesn't mean that we just sit back and relax completely and just watch us tank all the way down to 50K. Of course, we're not going to be doing that because there are some clear warning signs that we need to be mindful of in this video. That's exactly what we will be uncovering. But apart from just Bitcoin only, I also want to look into Ethereum. Ethereum is sub $3,000 once again. But believe me, I'm actually pretty bullish on Ethereum. So stay tuned to find out why that is. And we'll also go into the traditional markets because gold, the S&P, they're also falling. And that's impacting the price of Bitcoin. Treasuries are going up because of FOMC tomorrow. So today's video is going to be jam-packed with information that you do not want to miss. Stay tuned until the end. Smash up the like button. That's all I'm asking for. And with that said, let's get straight into the content. Now, I have a couple of breaking news. I'll save that for later on in the video, but it is pretty interesting. Really, like the Hong Kong ETFs in particular, its impact on the price has been pretty heavy. So looking at the analysis, I just want to do a quick recap on what I said yesterday, because yesterday's analysis was important. I need to link it into today's, so just give me 30 seconds. I'm going to play this video, and then we can dive back into the 4-hourly time frame.
At this point, I'm not planning on entering new trades until I see some sort of confirmation. But if you are a scalp trader, then I think if we break up, we'll probably go up to 64.5 and the market will wait for FOMC. But just keep in mind that volume is incredibly low and volume predicts price. When volume is low and the price is in a downward trend, usually price can drop even more. I'm just waiting on the daily time frame for Bitcoin to form actually a double bottom.
So yeah, that's basically what kind of happened, right? I mean, the volume was dropping off and we were in a downtrend, so price continued dropping further. And in terms of a breakout from this falling wedge pattern, we were saying 45. Where did 45 come out from? 64.5K in terms of a bullish move towards the upside. So Bitcoin wicked just above that, and then we came crashing down below as volume was decreasing, and we saw the Hong Kong spot ETFs, which became a complete flop, like I debunked in the last video. People were expecting hundreds of millions of dollars worth of inflows, but they were just kind of forgetting about the fact that the Hong Kong ETF market is smaller than the total amount of Bitcoin held in US institutions in terms of the ETF issuers themselves. And you know, it's normal. They were pretty successful in their own terms, but just not successful enough to satisfy the market. So in the short term, Bitcoin is corrected to the final target of this rising wedge pattern, and that is at $60,000. The question everybody has in their mind, is it over, right? And I was talking about waiting for a potential double bottom on the daily time frame. And I think this is the final hopium for Bitcoin in my perspective. If Bitcoin rebounds from this line of support, then we can potentially form this double bottom, and that's the only hopium I have. If this doesn't work, then Bitcoin will likely crash further down. The concern I have is that tomorrow is FOMC. And I do not like to trade the day before, the day, and the day after an economic event. It's just too volatile, especially this one, this FOMC event. It will be super significant. I'll be live streaming it tomorrow. That you don't want to miss, so turn on the notification bell. But during FOMC, Bitcoin is super volatile, right? Super volatile. Inflation is going up. So interest rates will likely be higher for longer. That is why currently the dollar value is increasing, regardless of the MACD bearish crossover. And long-term treasuries are also increasing because they will be able to yield higher interest for a longer amount of time. And that's why risk on assets such as Bitcoin decreasing, S&P decreasing, gold also forming a huge shooting star candle as people revert their money into the dollar and into bonds. So the current economic environment is not the best for Bitcoin. And that's why tomorrow, likely we will have a little bit more of a crash, right? How much more crash is going to be the question mark. But what we can tell from the 2-day time frame is that Bitcoin is now breaking down from this bull flag. This is not good at all, like at all. And as a target, what we can do is we can see that in the short term, Bitcoin is forming a descending triangle. Now this descending triangle, once we put the height below the current breakdown zone, we get a target of $52,000. And I think 52K is a beautiful target for Bitcoin because you will notice that this volume gap on the 2-day time frame will be filled exactly at $52,000. Why is this important? Well, when there is a volume gap, usually if price is increasing or if price is decreasing, you tend to skip the low volume areas very quickly. So if there's a pump, then you would pump way faster, right? You wouldn't consolidate in between. If there's a dump, then you would dump between this area very much faster at the same time. We currently have a lot of volume where Bitcoin is trading. So if Bitcoin breaks down from 60K with a confirmation here on the daily time frame, 2-day time frame, then I think a $52,000 Bitcoin is very possible. And you can see this perfectly realigns with the prior resistance levels in February of this year before we skyrocketed into the $70,000 territory. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of a 2-day perspective for Bitcoin. On the monthly perspective, Bitcoin is forming a tweezer top pattern. So we can see, or not a tweezer top. God, I forget what it's called in a technical perspective, but just know that this is a bearish signal, okay? So this current double candlestick formation is very bearish. If this monthly candle closes in the red, then expect at least another monthly candle to be going in the red. It's just inevitable, right? And we will try and find support at 52K. If that's not possible, then I think on the monthly time frame, 47K would be amazing. Right? 47K would be amazing, and we can just continue and rebound and continue higher. That's kind of the final buy the dip opportunity. Remember, I was saying 56 to 57K, but I've kind of shifted away from that analysis because I think lower prices are definitely possible, given the fact that now we're breaking down from this bull flag / descending triangle. Now, if I go into this final Bitcoin chart, we have a MACD bearish crossover on the weekly time frame. This is also a no-go. The last time that Bitcoin had a bearish crossover on the MACD was over here. So actually, we've had it multiple times, right? But we can see, oh no, the MACD is gone. And it's gone. Where did it go? Where did the MACD go? So we can see here, I was about to say, maybe if you, okay, let's bring up a different MACD indicator. MACD, moving average convergence divergence. There we go. So we can see here that there was a bearish crossover right before Bitcoin went into this minor bear market in the first half of 2021. Another one at the top at 69 or the 65K area. And then we had smaller bearish crossovers at the 31K tops. So right now, Bitcoin again is forming a bearish crossover, and this in the long term leads to lower prices. So again, be careful. Bitcoin will probably head lower in the macro future. Ethereum, on the other hand, is sitting at $2,930-ish. So I think I'm pretty bullish on Ethereum, by the way, because the Ethereum spot ETF in the United States, this will probably get approved at some point. I think 2025 or end of 2024, it's very likely that it does get approved. So I'm super bullish in that perspective. I think Ethereum will do very well. So I think currently is a beautiful buy the dip opportunity. I sold all of my Ethereum at 3.4K and 3.95K. People were calling me crazy. Why would you sell at resistance? Why would you sell? But look, I mean, it just, Ethereum did end up reversing. So I will be accumulating Ethereum in the long term. I think it will do very, very well going into 2025. But that's pretty much it for my TA on Bitcoin. Now we can move into the breaking news. I don't want to take too much of your time because I know that Bitcoin is dumping as we speak right now. So I want to get this video out as soon as possible. Now, this is another concerning thing. So BlackRock, we talked a lot about this on yesterday's video. BlackRock is not buying Bitcoin for 4 days. And if Bitcoin, well, I think the dump right now is sufficient. So expect tomorrow or the day after for BlackRock to have outflows. Because I think by tomorrow, especially tomorrow or the day after, we should be seeing enough selling pressure of IBIT investors to create that gap in supply and demand for BlackRock to then destroy shares and therefore offload Bitcoin. This will create further selling pressure, which will validate a move towards the 50K territory. But just don't be scared when Twitter goes crazy. It will probably happen. I'm warning you now. And yeah, just be careful. Let's go into the breaking news. So CZ, I was super shocked. I'm very happy at the same time because I'm actually personally, from my experience with CZ, I think he's done a great job in spreading crypto adoption. I think if Binance was not there, then crypto would not be at the place that it is at today. So I do support CZ in that sense. And he got 4 months, right? And it's super funny because this thing is 4, right? So he got 4 months in jail. He wants to clear up everything. He wants to put this behind him. So I do wish him the best of luck. Hong Kong ETFs, people are saying, okay, $120 million worth of inflows, but no, this is not correct. So the way that the ETFs in Asia work, they tend to precede, just like what we saw in BlackRock and whatever, but they precede higher amounts and buy up Bitcoin. So they've already bought up the Bitcoin prior to what's happening today, right? And currently we only saw like $12.8 million in volume, which is nothing. Like probably the smallest crypto exchange gets that much volume on a daily perspective. So it's really nothing. But Ethereum, funnily enough, was 6 times less than the volume of Bitcoin on average. And this to me shows the lack of investor demand into Ethereum. Even if we do get an Ethereum ETF, I think Bitcoin needs to be at such a high level, maybe like 100K, 150K, that investors FOMO more into Ethereum. If Bitcoin is at where it is today, or maybe even at 80K, I don't think people will care about Ethereum. Investors, traditional investors. I think it will take a long time. But Bitcoin or Ethereum leading up to that approval and to the launch will pump and probably face some disappointment following the launch. This is my personal take. Now, after the halving events, we saw a huge period of consolidation with Bitcoin. After the second halving event, Bitcoin consolidated for 189 days in 2016 and 87 days in 2020 before the bull market resumed. So we're kind of seeing a similar thing here. I just think that the difference that we have today is that the current bull market is so much more premature compared to what we saw before. So Bitcoin is able to consolidate and then we continued higher. You can see here on this chart that, we went up towards the halving. We saw a dip following the month after the halving, and then Bitcoin continues towards the upside. This time round, a lot of the bull market is already priced in. That's the difference. So the correction that we will see, because we had a larger move towards the upside before the halving, will also therefore be greater than before. So expect the correction this time around to potentially be greater than what we saw before. I talked about this with the ETFs. It's a double-edged sword. When the price goes up, you see a lot of inflows that pumps the market. When price goes down and you start getting outflows, it will do the same impact, but just in reverse. So it's important to keep that in mind. But other breaking news, it's not too interesting. I think the TA in this video was the most significant thing to be looking out for. But a lot of financial advisors before the May 15th deadline for all the $100 million plus assets under management companies to report if they hold whatever, right? So we saw that 155 unique advisors halfway through this reporting process have said that they had allocated money into Bitcoin. I think this is incredibly bullish. And you can see Eric is saying here that that is completely unheard of for new ETFs in the first 3 months. He was actually expecting like a couple of advisors like below the double digits. But we see 155 advisors already before May 15. Like that is just incredibly bullish. It shows the massive amount of interest. So in the long term, believe me, Bitcoin will do very well. It's just in the short term, we can have these corrections, just don't worry. And it's super funny that in 2013, people were like, okay, buy Bitcoin because you want to screw the banks. But now we're depending on BlackRock to just, please buy Bitcoin so we can continue going higher. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's pretty much the entire kind of news segment that I have for you. BlackRock held an institutional digital asset summit to promote their Bitcoin ETF. That's incredibly bullish too. And the prediction for a potential rate hike has emerged in the market, ladies and gents. That is crazy. People are now expecting a 16% chance of a rate hike. And that would destroy the markets given the current financial conditions. So do be careful of this at the same time. Just take a look at this, read it, pause the video. It's incredibly bullish for Dogecoin. That's all I will say. And there was some FUD about Russia banning Bitcoin, but that's not the case. and Morgan Stanley will spread their Bitcoin to 15,000 plus brokers. I'll save this for the next video because we can talk about this in just one particular video in itself. So incredibly bullish. Ethereum, probably not a security. We've got to flip in like 24 hours in terms of like security or not. Pretty funny too. And this analysis is just playing out perfectly. I think the 30 SMA will be very good support for Bitcoin at 56K, which I posted, by the way, like a week ago. So congrats if you were able to read it. But Bitcoin is currently sitting at, let's see what it's doing. Wow, okay, 59.6. So I'm just gonna try and get this video out as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And guys and girls, I'll see you all in the next video very soon. Take care, everyone, and bye-bye.